Okay, so we're gonna go into the rolling for the back line, and then we'll move into the mobility stretches, and then the activations. So we'll start off with the base of the skull. Now, I think it's best to do it with the sphere rollers, but again, if all we have is the Rolligas, you'll use either the ridges to go across just on the base of the skull that's right here, see the little lobes, or you could turn it to the side and go through the curl, like the ball part. So basically, you'll have the athlete sit and move across the ridge, and then alternate to the other side, or they can just do the same side. You can also do yeses, so yeses and nos, just to get across. All right. From there, we'll move over to the straight glute roll for 45 seconds. So while they're doing this, we're gonna be seated on top of it. Now this works well on the roller or the ball. Legs gonna be straight, slightly lifted off the ground. The taller that they can sit, the more that they're gonna open up that backline fascia, and they can roll through it. You can even have them lift their leg a little and get towards the top of the glute, towards that side joint, and move through it. So 45 seconds on one side, 45 seconds on the other side. After that, we'll go into glute medius, so kind of like a piriformis stretch or figure four. So they're moving across. So imagine top of the glute towards the hip, and then down towards the corner before you get into the hamstring and the groin. So they're just moving in a diagonal through. Now, if they don't have the ball, they use the roller. Same thing, slant it into the direction it's going through, so you get the most effectiveness on it. And then we'll switch sides. Full back. So I would love for them to do it with the ball, but that takes time and you have to be a savage to do it. So they'll be on the roller. Both ridges are going to be on the muscles, not on the spine, never on the spine. So there has that space in the roller so that you don't hit that. You want them to press their hips up, eyes are looking behind them. This starts to cause a better position that we can roll and get deeper into it. And they're basically just gonna sit into this for 45 seconds and breathe. The time is the most important part. Flash rolling is great before training, but when we're trying to open up and get the player to feel better, then we need to take the time. So that would be for the full roll. Now, for the side roll, I'm targeting my right side. I would sit into it. I'm gonna lean into this right side, give myself a hug. So now my muscles protrude out a bit more. And then I'm just pressing into that. Now, if the player can't tolerate and control the whole back, you can split the upper. So they're moving about 3 to 6 inches. And then you go to the lower. Stay off the SI joint, stay on the QLs. Drive the feet through the floor. Look behind you for a better position. It's okay if they start to feel their neck cramping and that. It honestly is just strengthening all that in the position. They're not used to it. So it's good to get into these different positions. So from there, medial hamstring insertion and lateral. So basically, shield tuberosity. This is my glute, this is my hamstring. It's gonna feel a bit tender on the inside, and then I'm gonna go to the outside. So with the ridges, I'm literally sitting on it and just rolling across side to side. Not much motion other than my side movement. If I have the ball, it can just roll across and get a little bit deeper. So I'll show you with the roller. I'm here and I'm into it. Can even add some rotation, but I'm really just dragging the leg across that ridge and moving into it. It's gonna click. I even feel like a little pop. But if they do hear it also, then yeah, they're stuck and they need to get some separation there. And then deep breathing, better tall position to get more of an opening there. With the ball, you can really get into it. I wouldn't advise using a lacrosse ball or tennis ball. I mean, you can maybe with the tennis ball, but the lacrosse ball might just be too intense with the movement. If they're sitting into it, it's fine. So once we've done that, we'll go to the lateral portion, so more towards the outside by the glute and IT band. You'll feel it. It's literally going to feel tender, and yeah, that's the spot. Right, so we'll do those. General hamstring roll, so just really flashing now just to get it to open up more now that we've got the insertion points to open up, so it's not really pulling everything up, and keep it compact. And then from there, we'll switch sides. All right, so with the calves, you can think of lateral medial above the Achilles, like a little triangle here. And then the player's just really gonna go through what they feel, but give it some time. You know, you can give it 30 to a minute, just because there's different areas. It can start to rotate through the ankles, move through it. They'll get a little bit of a release with that. Again, we want them to feel about a 7 out of 10 in discomfort when they're rolling. We're really trying to move some things, open it up, and with the time, that's gonna start to add a little bit of a neurological effect where the body's gonna respond to, okay, this is safe, and I'm gonna start to move with it and open up and not protect. And over time, they'll just get better and better because they're gonna be reactive to it. So that's the rolling. We'd switch sides on that. We're gonna go into the stretches. So backline mobility stretches. First one's gonna be downward dog. So this is gonna go 2 rounds with child pose and hamstring ladders. Okay. So downward dog, we're here. The hands are like a pillar into the ground. So we're gonna be pressing through our hands, we're pressing through our feet. We're driving our hips up, locking our knees out, squeezing the core. So now I'm lengthening the spine, and with each breath, it starts to make more impact to get elasticity. So when I'm here, pressing my hands, pressing my feet, pushing my butt up, squeezing my belly button into spine, resting my head between my arms. Now in that time, each breath out, I'm trying to drive my heels down to the ground. Now if we've got a player that's very flexible, they can walk up and get flat. If they're not so flexible, what you're gonna look for is for them to lock their knees out. So heel down, butt up. Press to the ground. This will get intense with them. They may shake, or they will shake. It's all about just driving into the core so we can relax that opposite side. All right, so they wanna really squeeze, they wanna really breathe, they wanna really press. They're gonna feel powerful in it because they're gonna find some control and connection, and they'll open up from there. All right, so with child pose, we're here. So they're gonna be sitting into their heels, pressing their hips back, reaching as far as they can. Belly button tucked, so now we can not allow the rib cage to get into a shifted position with the lower spine. And just deep breathing. And things will start to open up. There's some pops and everything like that. And then from there, we're going hamstring ladders. So hamstring ladders, we're gonna go with 30-second holds. I mean, some kids care about it. Elite kids really care about this, but for the most part, we've got some guys that are learning how to be elite. So we're gonna just time them and have them breathe deep, because for them to count it, they're gonna rush. So with a hamstring ladder, start off like this. I'll have a band. Eventually we could do it without the band once they understand the control and lock out and really squeeze the front line. We want our quads to cramp. So then we're knowing that we're turning off everything in the back side. So with this, toes are gonna be up towards the shins. I'm laying flat. We're gonna get a lot of this area popped up. We don't want no tunnel or hand to move through. So we're gonna ask them to engage their core, sit heavy. Now we're gonna start off at, what percentage should I put? At about 70%, right? Just holding 10% of the range. Now this leg is not asleep. I'm driving this heel down, locking my knee out. So I want both knees locked out. I don't want this. This is not a stretch. All right, this is comfort. We're here. All right, so we're gonna stick those heels through to go to the ceiling. Just deep breathing. Watch their shoulders. If they're not hiked up, they're flat, they're opened up. Breathe through the stomach. Touch the player's stomach, touch their rib cage, touch the knee. For sensory reasons, when you contact, they're able to locate that area and start to open up a bit more, or even hold your hand so they can feel that they're making movement with their breath. Once they've done 30 seconds, we go a leg lift, even where they were at, and then we're gonna go 80-90%. Holding again, deep breathing, tell them to tuck that chin into the chest. So we're lengthening that whole back line. After 30 seconds, we'll go here. We're gonna go to 100. Lock the knees out. Really pull up. You want to cramp here so they're squeezing through the quad. And then once they let go, 3 to 4 seconds here where they're trying to just pull up as much as they can. Some of them will start jumping because they're cramping, and then we relax. We're gonna go through that twice. The second time, you're really gonna get good feedback from them. This stuff is not like any sexy workout. It's boring as shit, but it's effective. So that's what they'll do for that. All right, so after that, we're gonna go into some different movements. It's gonna be leg lifts. So the leg lift, we're sitting tall as possible, walking our arms out. And then they're gonna go in these for 5 reps. So coach's call, 3 to 4 seconds, just trying to go as high as possible. And then they'll go down, and then they'll switch. So we're really just trying to activate the front so we can get the back to shut off and open up a bit more. You can put something there, a cone, a marker, so you can get them. I don't like to really go with motion. I want them to go with a hold and then drop. If we're gonna try to get the hips involved a bit, then we can get the cones and all that as well. But we don't really need to do all that. Ankle cars. So a car is basically where we're isolating an area. So for this one, it's gonna be the ankles. So they'll do each side, meaning they're gonna go clockwise and counterclockwise. My leg's gonna be even with the bent knee. Of course, my spine's flat. I'm laying. Big toe is the wand, so I'm turning the wand over, trying to cover as much rotation as I can. You're gonna see some of them start to turn in the hip. We need them to lock that out. So if they're not able to do it with a straight leg, just go to this position right here. Knees bent, takes away the hip, and they're slowly going through the ankle. And they'll go for 8. Slow and controlled. They're gonna hear popping, cracking, all of that. And then they'll go into the opposite side. All right. From there, ankle mobility in the half kneel. 10's a good number, but again, it's more off feeling. Like if they're getting good feedback, they're really locked in the ankle, then have them do more. And some players might move through it a bit and then they're opened up. So we're gonna have same elbow, same knee. I'm gonna hold this heel. I'm driving as far as I can. I have to keep the heel down and then I come out of it. All right, we can go towards the pinky toe, we can go towards the center. So we can do them where you give them the range just to do all directions, or you can keep one direction at a time and move through it. Okay? And then we'll switch sides with that. Okay, so now we'll get into a few movements. So with this one, it's gonna be a straight leg kick out and then a knee hug to scoop. So 10 to 15 yards. When we're doing these, we want the same leg to go the whole time to a distance and then switch. The repetition is gonna help just for them, like sensory, where they're gonna be able to start to adapt to the movement, just like a rubber band, it's just start to open up more and more, right? They're not gonna just try to protect themselves. So just kicks, just straight the whole time, 10 to 15 yards, then they'll go back, same thing, kicking out, 10 to 15 yards, and they'll go multiple times, I believe, yeah. And then knee hug the scoops. So stretching through here, toe up, get through the whole back line, and they're just gonna do the same leg over and over until they get to distance, and then they'll go opposite leg back. So those could be about 3 to 5 times in those motions. The reason that I just do it like that opposed to using a hurdle or anything like that is because sometimes you're gonna have a lot of numbers and we can't really rely on so much equipment. So that's what you would do. I mean, you're free to just do the same actions with hurdles just to entertain the player, but it just depends on like the numbers you have. So just try to keep it simple if you start to get into larger numbers. All right, so after that, we'll do some backline activations. So alternating bird dog. I always like to have my palm up so that the rib cage can be a little bit more controlled and stay down. And we can open up through the lats. So middle finger diagonal out. So you can open up here, get some more engagement, knee to the hips, right? Just alternating. Tell the player to push their heel back, not up. This is not a good bird dog because the players start to bend and extend. It's no control. So you should be feeling the glutes firing, opening up in the back, as well as belly button tucked and squeeze, engagement in the core. So just tell them to push their heels back. And then if they can't get higher, they could, but it's all about the spinal position as we move through. So you can call a number 5 to 8 of them, 1 to 2 sets, depending on time frame. Bridge holds. So if you want to get more hamstring, then you're going to load them on the heels, have a little bit more dorsiflexion. If you're going to have their feet just in a neutral position and press up, it's going to be more for the glute. So we want to keep them here, driving the knees away. So now we relax the front line by literally internally like trying to stretch out the knee. You might not see a lot of shift, but it makes a big difference here. There's no dip. Tailbone tucked in through your glutes. That's just a cue that you can tell them. So if they really roll and press up, you'll fire up the hamstrings. They can hold between 8 to 10 seconds. The first few, if they need to, it could just be 5-second holds. You always reset them from the time frame with the spine down and then press up, and they'll get better feedback from there. From there, we're going to box drop or hips drops. Just to open up the glute and get a little bit of a stretch component, and then they're essentially gonna be able to contract and then drive up. So if I had a box, I'd be standing on like a 12-inch box. I would drop my heel down, keep my feet flat, mobilize the ankles, and then come up. I don't have that. Again, I'm not worried about really loading myself, so I'm gonna have my hand on the wall. So right here, all I'm doing is just pushing my hips back slightly, not too much of a change in angle, and then drive up, sit tall, squeeze the belly button, and lengthen out. This will help fire them up very well. They have to feel their feet. They'll feel the connection if they're doing some grabs with their toes, stability, and then driving up, firing through the glutes. But make sure that they're always ending in this tall position and then staying away from extension in the back. Sorry. All right, that's the back line recovery protocol.